Morning.
Morning, how are we doing?
Still trying to find a job.
Morning, Carla.
Morning.
Nate and Carla got you guys co-host now, hopefully. I need to grab my drink from the other room. I'll be back. Sweet nectar of caffeine. Okay.
One of those days, huh?
Was that?
One of those days, huh?
Yeah. Sleep's overrated. Sleep's is only a cheap substitute for caffeine. That's all it is.
There you go.
That's healthy, I'm sure. Okay, perfect. All right. Is the hour. Okay, cool guys. Well, um, what I so originally, I mean, we're gonna go to the 18th from but because of the holidays. I I want to keep this going to kind of make up for the days that we missed, basically 2 weeks, so we can get rid of so we can continue until like even to the 31st. My my thoughts or questions to you guys with what has been kind of what would you say has been holding you guys back the most from either like taking action or doing enough of it, or what do you think is like the main thing that's in impeding you guys from getting the success you need? Or do you feel like you're just on the right path? You just got to continue. I would love your guys' feedback. Or what do you think is stopping you from?
For me, I'll go first, I guess. Um, for me, it's just follow through of doing the sacred time and making calls, talking to people, just being able to follow through on those things. I get distracted really easy,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
I know the
you
feeling.
know things happen and things pop up, but I think I can definitely do better at making the sacred time and keeping the sacred time, you know, regardless of what's going on. So
Right. And if I had to guess, I think that's kind of like across the board as far as not making sacred time sacred. And I think there's a few people that maybe haven't even put specific times on when that time is. It's and this is me just assuming on a few things, right? But for you, Nate, because I think that challenge is very common, if I had to guess, right? What do you think you could do to make it the sacred time? Like, so what time is your sacred time? I don't know if you have multiple blocks or, but when is supposed to be your sacred time?
is a great question. Aubrey and I have talked about that a lot and trying to figure out what works best for both of us, being sacred time for both of us. I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
do work from 6:30 till 5 at night. So I try to do it during my lunch. I had it marked out during lunch, but
Mm-hmm.
what we really have found out is that after I get home from work, it's always time for her sacred time. So we kind of work together as a team, right? So, but we have it marked out on a couple days a week. There's a couple days we can't, so it's not every single day, but
Sure.
uh, there's things that we can do better. Implementing even just 10 or 15 minutes every single day. Um, it's more consistent on that
Yeah.
on that front. So
Yeah. It'll. I mean, if you're consistent at because it sounds like the challenge is like just doing the second time, actually making those action steps, right? Those MMAs. If you can go back 2 months and if you were consistent with that sacred time, even if it's for 15 minutes, where would you see yourself from from now in your situation to if you did do something like that? Or do you think anything would have changed?
Oh, I definitely think things would have changed. I think, you know, I would have hoped I would have, had at least a deal under our belt, but,
Right.
at least more appointments, more experience, and being able to see a bit more success from,
Mhm.
from what I have seen. So,
Well, I mean, think about this. If someone's using even 15 minutes a day, and 15 minutes, I mean, it's just to show you the power of what that can do. I mean, obviously, you want to do if you can do out 90 minutes, if you can do 2 hours, that's when you're really gonna get multiple deals and do some stuff pretty quickly. But let's let's just run the numbers and just think about what that 15 minutes would do for someone. Okay, so 15 minutes over the course of 60 days is 15 hours. It's 900 minutes times 60, or excuse me, 900 times 60. 15 times 60, 60 days in the 60-day challenge. That's 900 minutes, which is equivalent to 15 hours. Okay. We talked about the other day as far as like, remember we were kind of reverse engineer what it takes to kind of get into a deal. So for just to reiterate that, and I'm gonna do some quick math. This is just kind of like the average. Everyone's gonna be a little different. So, but it's a good kind of starting point or just to get some understanding. So you always backwards. I always like to backwards math everything, right? So we have one deal, right? To get one deal, I have to have on average around 2 to 3 under contract to actually close the deal. I'm gonna phrase that. So because not everything you get under contract is gonna close. So you need 2 to 3 that's gonna be under contract. To get a deal under contract, for one, for every 3 to 5 appointments. Right now I'm at 3, but we'll just say we'll say 5. 5 appointments, you get one under contract. So that would mean if we're going 5 and we need 3, we'll do the bigger one, right? So 3, excuse me. To get 3 under contract, you need 15 appointments. And this is just like to just talk about selling and everything, right? So 15 appointments. And if I'm using cold calling as my metrics, if I dial 100 to 200 phone number, and this is using a dialer, right? So dialing 100 to 200 numbers, not talking to 200 people or 100 people, but like just dialing numbers, right? Most of those are going to be leave a message or wrong number, so you get through pretty quick. I'll be able to get at least one appointment set. Okay. Which means, so if I want 15 appointments, and let's even go the high amount, 200. So 200 for one appointment times 15, because I need to get 15 appointments to get 3 contracts to get one deal. So I need to dial, and this is the higher end. I think you can probably go clear 15, but we'll just assume the most 3,000 dials. If you're using a dialer, you can dial anywhere from so about 100 an hour if it's like consistent and you're blasted through it, right? So 3,000, right, divided by 100. How many hours? That's 30 hours. So it would take 30 hours of calling. And this is again, this is all on the higher end of things. I mean, you can literally divide that in half So if we're going the low spectrum, if you dial 15, that's 15 hours of dialing time. 15 hours of dialing. And if you go on the lower end, you're probably getting a deal. But if you spent 30 minutes a day doing that of actual MMAs, you would have landed a deal in the last 2 months. Is that making sense, guys? Like how little time you really do need to put into it, but it has to be time that you're actually doing MMAs. If we got some background noise, where's that coming from?
What's the best dialer out there? Like I thought that Deal Machine comes with the dialer, but I just found
It
out
does.
this morning that the 15 subscription people that joined that doesn't have that dialer in there.
So Deal Machine Dialer, it's and I'll just compare a little bit and I'll tell you, I don't know if it's the best dialer out there, but probably one of the better ones that I've seen is Mojo Dialer. As far as like just the dialer program itself, Mojo Dialer. And I'm not affiliated with them. They should be. Jeez. The amount of people that I sent over there, it's crazy. But so Mojo Dialer is absolutely like one of the best. You dial 3. That's what I've used most. And I've tried some other ones and they were fine. And I'm sure there's probably even some out there that's even better. Mojo Dialer is definitely, it's really, really good. There's not really like a delay between when they pick up and not. I love the Deal Machine dialer. I really do like that. My only beef with the Deal Machine dialer is it only dials one number at a time. That's my only beef. So with Mojo, it dials 3 numbers at a time. And most dialers, at least that I've kind of looked at, can do multiple dials at once. So you can get through that list pretty darn quick. However, I do like that Deal Machine has so much stuff in it. Like it pulls up, you can pull up all the address, all the data right there. It has the AI, which you can ask questions. You can leave the message. It's as like per call. I think the Deal Machine dialer is better, but you'll be able to get through more dials and contacts through Mojo. So
Jared,
yes,
I was also going to say, if you're dialing the first time, like this is new to you, that 3-call dialer is overwhelming, right? Because
yeah,
I mean, I've used it. It's crazy. There's so much going on. You're seeing calls go in, some are going to voicemail, some are, you're dropping a voicemail, some are, you know what I mean? Whereas when you're first starting, I like the one call. It's just simpler. You can focus on what you're going to say. You're more prepared. There's not as much things to pay attention to. So if you're starting, I would recommend the Deal Machine just once. One thing.
Yeah.
It has the AI prompts too. So if you get stuck, you just click that help me button and it tells you what to say.
Well, and what I like about it, like, because you can push the button and they ask a question you don't know how to answer. You just type in, how do I answer that? Because it's listening and it's transcribing your conversation right there, and it'll record it. And well, I don't record it, but at least it'll transcribe it. And so like just like what should I respond here? And it'll give you a decent response. It's pretty cool. It's actually really cool. So I mean, like, if it could dial more, I think then it would be like 100 times. I don't. I think you're right. I think because like when I'm used to just dealing with the 3 calls at once, and my ADHD brain loves all the things going on, so it's really But I definitely, now that you mentioned that, Angie, I think that makes a lot of sense. What you're saying is that because it can be overwhelming, and sometimes me as I'm telling people to help it in training, I forget sometimes like the overwhelmness of everything brand spanking new,
right?
And or unknown, and so that's a good little call out. I like that.
Yeah, no problem.
So, but think about this.
That's my 2 cents.
That's great 2 cents.
Can I ask a question? Like, and this is probably for if you join that group with Lily, the 15 people that joined. I just found out that's one of the reasons why I joined, because I thought I can use it, but I was told this morning by Lily that's not part of this deal. So anybody knows how to add that in or something?
I'm not sure. I think one of the there has to be a way, right? Even if it's like if because it does cost to use the dialer, there's like a $99 licensing fee, or it charges like per minute. So it's I think I mean if I had to guess, right? Probably because she didn't want people because she just one account or she's the main account, so it's like has her card on it, I suppose. But I wonder if you're able to get with her and to see if there's a way to, like, hey, can I venue this money to be able to turn it on or something? I don't know. I'm sure there has to be some sort of way. I mean, I'd be surprised if not. But yeah, I think it's another conversation. At least there's an option to turn it on the dialer because it is really good. I do like it a lot. But yeah, so back to and unless you have any other questions, but as far as back to Nate and this is true for everyone, right? So 15 minutes, I mean, if we're going the lower end, right? If it's spend 15 minutes a day, or even if it's 30 minutes a day, that's when you're at the 30 hours of making phone calls to actually land a deal. And let's do the math here for a second, okay? Just let me just let's do some numbers. Okay. So we have should I write this out on the whiteboard so it makes is that easier even though my pen is horrendous with would that be helpful?
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay. Oh, there it is. Right. So let's do this. Mentos. All right, so we're gonna kind of talk about the first or the other what we just talked about as far as hours goes and what it's gonna take to get one to be get paid money. We're talking so my average is 15 to 20K per wholesale deal. Okay. To get that money, to get that deal closed, let's get right slower. Yeah, that's much better. Still bad penmanship, but closer. Okay. To get it closed, on average, and we're going to go on the high end, right? So it's going to be 1, 2, 3. Under. This is like so my screen's up like this, and it's like I'm writing on a wall. Feels like. Anyways, contract. Ugh. Come on, dude. Anyway, that's supposed to say contract. Whatever. Okay. 1 to 3 under contract, and then what was that? Oh yeah. And then so we need it takes to get one under contract for one under contract. We need at least 5 appointments. So 5 appointments. So we need 15 appointments to get the 3 under contract. Okay, so 15 appointments. And then to get an appointment, we'll say you need 200 dials, which is so 3,000 dials. And this again, guys, this is the higher end, okay? Like you can do things a lot faster, but we'll see, okay? Okay. And it's about 100 dials per hour. So if we're putting 30 minutes a day for 60 days dialing, you would land one deal potentially, right? I think it'd be a lot faster, to be honest. But again, we're going to be like worst case scenario here. How many hours is that really, right? We're looking at, so we have, so times 60, 30 minutes. Yeah, that's right. So that's 30 hours, right? So 30 hours of calling. Oh my goodness. Okay. 30 hours of calling. Okay. 30 hours of calling. And then it's going to take 15 hours for the appointments. So this is kind of away from Sager time, but if you get an appointment, do you think you can make time for an hour? If you know they want to sell, are you gonna be able to find the time? I think is that fair, guys, to say something like that? Even if you only have 30 minutes a day, I'm pretty sure you'll be able to find it.
Absolutely.
Right? And then for the 3 contracts, you probably have to spend, depending on the deal, it could be super easy, but maybe 3 hours per contract. So we'll just say 6 hours. This is like sending it out, answering questions. Okay. Whatever. Okay. So 3 hours per contract, right? And then so what do we got here? So 45, 51. Seriously. 51 hours to make, let's go to the lower end, 15K. 51 hours. Because I'm gonna put it in context for as if like for hourly rate, right? With 15,000 divided by 51, that is $294.11 per hour. And if we're doing it like where I really think you could do it is in the 15 minutes, then that goes up to times 2, right? So then that's 300. Well, actually a lot more because then you're only doing, this goes in half. And anyways, if your job was paying you $300 an hour and you can work whenever you wanted, like it was just like it was freelance, you can just work when you want, whenever you want. And so Nate, like with having a hard time finding, like being consistent at it, if you had a situation or a job where you can work whenever you want and it's $294 an hour, would you have a hard time finding or being consistent at it?
No, that's
Wade, be up early every day.
Yeah.
Right. You probably put in more than that 30 minutes a day, right? Because even 30 minutes a day, when you break that down, that's like, $150 or $145, whatever it is. That adds up pretty darn quick.
It's that mindset you and Lily were talking about yesterday. It's looking at it on the other side of the page versus I'm going to get paid this. I'm going to put in this many hours and get paid this for sure. Or I'm going to put this many hours and maybe get paid. It's the mindset. It's the drive.
Exactly. Exactly. It's 100% the mindset. Because anything that we want to do, you make time for it. Who here has hobbies? That hobby may be video games or could be whatever. Who has hobbies?
Racing.
Racing, right? So Josh, do you find it a a hard time to find time for your racing?
No, the hard part is trying to find time for the rest of life.
Right. Because it's something you want to do. You like it, and if you were getting paid $300 an hour to race, well, you probably get paid more. I mean, I don't know, but depending, I guess, what level you're at, right? But I mean, that's probably a bad example. But anyways, when
About
we
30 to 50 grand a weekend.
yeah, that totally beats $300 an hour. That's awesome. So, but we all need time for things that we enjoy or that we want to do, right? Spend family time. We do whatever it may be. If we're separating 30 minutes a day, just 30, and then once you start landing some contracts or appointments, that is going to be extra time. Absolutely, I get that. But again, it's like if add an extra average of 50 minutes, or 10 minutes, then I'll cover those hours. That's not a big deal. So we're talking like 30 minutes a day of consistent action would make you $15,000. What the average income in the U.S. household is what, like $60,000 a year? Something like that? Does that sound right? I don't know if I can Google it. But that's like what, $5,000 a month. So you'd be getting 15,000 for 2 months worth of work. 15,000 for 2 months worth of work. That's 7,500 per month. So you're going to give yourself a 2,500 raise. And because if you do, if you're watching the real estate, the tax and legal classes, you're not going to be paying as much tax as you are when you're day job, your W-2, because you have to take those out as well. So your take home is going to be dramatically way more. But when you put it in the context of what really is required to land a deal and the time that it takes to do it, like, yeah, I mean, it does, it takes effort, but more so than effort is consistent in the MMAs. Now, I know a lot of you are like, well, I am spending 30 minutes a day. Okay, cool. Let me ask you this. Are those 30 minutes a day actually doing MMAs? So are you spending the 30 minutes of talking to a fellow human being? Or are we, I gotta watch this thing, I gotta do this, I gotta jump on Jared's call. Like, I would rather you guys not jump on this call or jump on this call and just like, and make phone calls.
I can't hear you. I don't know.
We can hear you.
Oh, sorry guys. I am calling. I hit that mute button when I was like talking, so I don't know where it cut off at. What was the last thing I heard?
You were saying you'd rather we do MMAs than watch this call.
Oh yeah, and it's counterintuitive to even say that, and I get it, but when you really think about it, like the goal is to land a deal, not to jump on calls, right? So sometimes the calls are motivational and helpful, and we do MMAs during this call, depending on the day, what's going on. Absolutely, 100%. But again, you're going to be a lot further along, and at that point, if you're spending an hour a day consistently doing MMAs, that's $15,000 a month. Because 30 minutes gives us a deal in 2 months. An hour of doing MMAs every day, and it may be a little bit longer because if you take off like Sunday or have a day off, which is totally reasonable, I suppose, but okay, great. So it's 5 weeks, whatever. Deal. What a cutie. Goodness. You guys have cute kids. But being consistent at it, that's the trick. That's the magic. He's so happy to see dad. Look at him. Is this hitting home, guys? I hope. Let's see here.
Yes.
All right. Taylor says that would be able to do, especially relating hobbies to it. Taking the time you put into hobbies to real estate can do that. Absolutely. And think about it. Sometimes we need, most of the time, we need to sacrifice some of our current pleasures for the better life of our future selves and our families. It's our families too that we're doing this for. You know, it's important to kind of put things into context and what you're actually doing and not doing, and put into what it really will, and track it. That's what the accountability partners are for, is to hold each other accountable, right? You absolutely need to be, this business is for yourself. So here's a concept that I really, really liked. What do you guys think discipline is? What's
Doing
discipline for you?
something, whether you have motivation or not.
So taking action, whether you're motivated or not, you're going to do it. Yep. Okay. I like that. Another definition of discipline is sacrificing your current comfort for the benefit of your future self. If my discipline is to make those phone calls, but I'm nervous or something else comes up or whatever the story I'm telling myself, because a lot of it's kind of, if we're honest with ourselves, it's kind of BS. Sometimes there's things you can't control and happens, but that's the exception to the rule, not the rule. So when you're full of accepting these exceptions when it's not the actual rule, then that's when you kind of you're lying to yourself. But anyways, so if my current comfort, I'd rather be playing a video game or watching Netflix or whatever, or you know, I'm gonna spend an extra time playing with my kiddos, and that is, you know, spending time with family. So we can do things that are good, but maybe not the best for our family, for ourselves. So, and we can convince ourselves that this good thing is good enough. It's a trap. So we sacrifice that for the benefit of our future selves. So Nate, again, and I don't think you don't mind, but since you're the first one, the brave enough to come up off of mute. But if you would have, how would you feel right now? It's been 60 days. If from day one you started spending 30 minutes consistently sacred time, making those phone calls, not allowing any excuses to happen, how would you feel if you would have closed a deal in the last 60 days and made $15,000 for you and your family?
I mean, it kind of makes me sick thinking about it, because that would, I mean, that's
Right.
huge, at least for us right now. You know, that's a big deal, and that would change a whole lot. So, you know, just thinking about it on that perspective and breaking it down, you
Right.
know, it just, yeah, it feels like I just made excuses the whole time, which I kind of did. So I think
Right. Well, and
now,
it's normal to do. So there's no judgment here either, right? But yeah.
yeah,
So it kind of it's almost upsetting when you think about it. So right now, you're upset at or frustrated at who exactly?
my old self.
Your old self. How cool would it have been if you would have cashed that $15,000 check? How would you feel about your old self? And that, if that was the case, if you spent the 30 minutes every single day consistently and you landed a deal, how would you feel? What would be the emotion you would feel if you did do that?
I feel like I have to be a lot more motivated to continue on, you know, being able to see that payoff and the success. I'd be like, okay, I'm going to put an hour, I'm going to put an hour and a half, because,
Yeah,
you know, 30 minutes did this. So now what more can I do? So I think I'd be a lot more motivated, you know, but
so you would be motivated to help your future self be even more successful at that point.
yeah, absolutely.
Because continue making those calls, there's no any real benefit for that present self at the moment. It's just because it's going to feel awkward. Sometimes people are going to yell at you. You're going to come against potentially difficult situations. Is that fair to say?
Absolutely. Yeah.
But you're more motivated because your desire to provide for your future self and your family is bigger than that current moment of being uncomfortable. So think about that, guys. If you can either be your future self's best friend, or you can be your worst enemy. Pure and simple. That's what it is. You're either your best friend or your worst enemy. So you need to change your thought. Like, I am my future self's servant or my best friend. Here's another way I think of it. Like, if my future self was someone I loved, was my son, and I know I can do something nice for him, like maybe I'll put $100 when summer starts, I'll put $100 in my jacket. So when winter comes, he puts his hands in it, finds $100 and forgets about, or maybe I'll set out his clothes so he can, when he picks up, he's ready to go to the gym. He can get things going with the kids, or I clean up his desk so when things are ready to go in the morning, it's like everything's ready to go. If I really loved that person and cared for him, like a son, a family member, I don't know if I do all this stuff for my son, to be honest. I want him to do it, but even deeper than that, right? Like, how grateful would you be? And then let's flip it around. What if you woke up and you had all of your shoes like all of your shoes? How many shoes do you wear a day? I guess I don't know. You had your shoes all there, nice and clean. Your clothes were folded, just ready for you to pop them on. Everything you needed was done, prepped for you. If your coffee drinker is already set, you just had to push a button. If your smoothie stuff was all set up, your breakfast is ready to go. Pretty much just got to do a few things and then you're ready to go. How grateful would you be to that person that did that for you? I imagine pretty grateful. I would be very grateful. You can do that to yourself. Be grateful for yourself. Sometimes we may not feel that we deserve it, but you do. And the more and more that we do it, the more and more it's going to feel natural, and you're going to have more gratitude in your life because I'm so glad I did that. Oh, that's so great. And then it builds upon it. So Nate did a perfect example. If he would have did the things that he should have been doing the past 60 days, he would have been more motivated to serve his future self. It compounds. So if he would have done those difficult things for 30 minutes every single day, the last 30 days, he would have landed a deal, and he would have been even more motivated to make. I'm going to call an hour now. I'm going to close a deal, one deal a month now. Cool. Now I'm going to build some systems. Now that I'm closing a deal every month, I'm getting some extra income. I'm going to build some systems where I'm going to have cold callers for me, so I don't have to spend that time. I can use that funds and start building a system where I'm out of the business slowly, right? And then I have this deal machine just sending me all of these deals, or just closing all of these deals, because now I have a acquisition manager. I have all this stuff set up, getting $5,000 a month passively, $15,000 a month, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 a month passively, because you spent that year or two building that out. You be your best. That is if someone did that for me, someone just knocked on my door. Hey, Jared, I really love you. You deserve to have the best life you possibly can for you and your family. I built this entire machine for you. You're gonna get checks coming in anywhere from $20,000, $30,000 every single month. Love you, buddy. High five. Peace out. How awesome would that be? It's so awesome. It's like no one would ever do that. But guess what? Who can do that? You can, for yourself. And if you can't bring yourself because of whatever self-doubt or whatever those internal issues you may not be having, then do it for the spouse or for the kids. How awesome would it be to build a system, to have something coming in every single month where the wife doesn't have to work, or the husband doesn't have to work anymore, or able to change jobs and actually do some more passion stuff. If I said, listen, You can have any life you want, however you want it. You just need to put in a couple of years of effort, of actual effort, and you're gonna have it. Why wouldn't we do it? Why wouldn't we build that machine for ourselves? There's no reason why not. It's either because we don't believe it ourselves that this will happen, and maybe because we just don't know. That's why being specific in our goals is very, very important. Because now, if like, okay, I want to close a deal a month, great. What does that look like? Oh, I gotta make 3,000 dials a month. Okay, how many hours is that? Okay, cool. So that's 2 hours. That's an hour a day for 30 days. I'm gonna take a day off. So let's say an hour and 15 for 6 days a week. Cool. Dialing consistently for an hour and 15 minutes a day will get you $15,000 a month or more. Why aren't any of us doing that? And I'm not trying to make you feel bad, but maybe a little bit. It's okay to be mad at your not even mad. Let's be understanding with our old self. Don't beat yourself up. Just recognize, because your old self was doing what they felt was best for them. Because that immediate, that's what we do. When we stop ourselves from doing something, it's because our brain, our internal, think that's the best thing for us. Making that phone call is scary. Is that fair to say? Yeah. Making that phone call is scary. And so what does our brains do? We're like, oh, I don't want your brain's an organ. Okay? Your brain is designed to keep you alive. That's it. It's not designed to keep you happy, wealthy. Nope. It's designed to keep you alive and to avoid pain. That's what it's designed for. Avoid pain, go to pleasure. So if me making this phone call, I have anxiety about it, I'm nervous about it. What is like the brain's like, oh, this is not a good feeling. We don't like it. Oh, you know what I really do like? I like when I get distracted, when I'm gonna go check on social media. I'm gonna make up some story. You guys are the best. If you guys don't think you're salespeople, you guys are the best salesmen in the entire world. You sell yourself every single day on why you shouldn't be doing this. And you know exactly what to say to yourself so that you don't take that action. Exactly. You know the thoughts that comes up that makes it so, and if you don't think so, think about it. When you're in the session, when you think, oh, I should do that now. Oh, but you know what? That kitchen's really dirty. I should clean it up first. Or, I mean, my poor kiddo, so cute. I just gotta give him some snuggles for just a minute or two, and that turns into, and then it just keeps cascading. And then you push that off, and then it's not sacred to you. You guys are we all are the best salesmen in the world. You're just selling yourself every single day. So turn that on its head. It's like the no's. If we go for no, we're changing. We're switching the script. We're making those no's a positive thing. So then it's less likely for ourselves to induce that in salesperson in ourselves just not to do that, rather than cool, let's do this. And if we have the vision of it, like, oh, cool, not only I don't feel as much anxiety to make those phone calls, but I love me so much. In 30 days, I want to see myself at the closing table getting a $15,000 check. I love myself so much. I want that. So I'm going to confront this uncomfortableness right now and make the phone call. I'm going to knock on that door. I'm going to talk to all of those agents. I'm going to be calling 5 agents a day or whatever your method is of finding the deals. It's very rare when someone doesn't have 15 to 30 minutes a day. I'm sorry. I know we all say that we're really busy, really busy. When I first started when I first started, and I think you all heard this before, but I was working at Walmart manager salary. So I was working 60 hours was my like minimum week. Any type of event or holiday or whatever, behind on anything, that can go up to 70 real quick. And like Christmas and like the big holiday weeks, like I was working like double shifts like all day long. In addition to that, I was going to school 18 credit hours It sounds more pressing than it was. They're really easy classes, so it's fine. But I was going to school 18 credit hours and working this job. I was working like minimum 60 hours a week when I found Renatus, when I found real estate as a potential option. I only had like 15. I mean, I started with 15, 30 minutes a day. That's it. And I didn't know anything about real estate at all. I had to watch a lot of how to get educated. I didn't really have, like, I would go to the evening meetings like on Thursday nights, things like that, and really it was very, very helpful. But I didn't have like a mentor or someone I really can kind of go to really get all the stuff. I kind of figured things out. A lot was, well, and going to the Thursday night workshops was very, very helpful. But I had to spend a lot of time just watching and listening to classes. So I had to do net time, no extra time. So when I was doing the dishes or when I was driving, I had a class playing into my ear. So if it's like, well, I want to watch, I want to make phone calls, but I also want to plug into what Jared's saying or whatever the thing is. Cool, awesome. If the only time is to focus is 11 to 12, then I would I would make those phone calls during 11 to 12, and then I'm trying. It's like I'm telling you guys not to come on the calls, right? But in reality, it's the goal isn't to jump on calls. The goal is to close the deal. Then I would just make those phone calls, and then while I'm driving or whatever, if you want to recap and listen to them later, sweet, they're recorded. You can do it while you're doing other things. That time, no extra time. That's if you don't have any time to do that. There's really no excuses as far as time wise. I think that's fair or real, I should say. We may feel it's real. We may feel it's legit, but if you're really broke down, the minute, like I think whoever went to the Thursday night, Richard Stock talked about this too. He talked about like you need to write down everything you're doing for the day and figure out like if you just, and this is pretty good. This is pretty good exercise for everybody. Here's my challenge: is to keep and maybe it's open your note app on your phone or whatever method. Keep a scratch piece of paper in your back pocket and just write down everything you've done so far for the day. Like keep track of every hour. So 9 to 10, what did I do? Oh, well, I worked, then I took this break or whatever from 11 to noon. I was on Jared's call, and then from noon to 1, I did this, this, and this. Then I did this. Just break everything down and be honest with yourself and look at it. Like, do I really not have 30 minutes a day? Did I really need to spend that 45 minutes on whatever silly thing that we do? If we're honest with ourselves, and this is conversations that you're having with yourself, and that may be uncomfortable, or thoughts that are uncomfortable. So what do we do? What does our animal brain want to do? Avoid uncomfortableness. So even doing that exercise, you may find resistance because the end result will be uncomfortableness. That's a word. Will be friction. So even doing that, that's why you guys don't do the things that you're trying to do, because it feels uncomfortable. There's pain there. So if we recognize it, that's a really good way to change it. Yeah. Yeah. Nate says that you're hitting it on the head. This hits home for sure. Definitely need this. I appreciate it, man. Yeah, guys. I mean, and I'm speaking from firsthand experience of all of these things. The way that if any stuff's hitting home, because like I live it and currently live it. There are things that I'm still trying to do that I hit walls, and it's still hard to push. It's not because I had this cool skill to have that discipline to keep pushing forward, to keep on doing this. No, I still to this day will have those walls that I hit, that I'm not able to do certain things. But you're not gonna, you don't have to be perfect right away. Just make that small progress. Look at the first step in front of you, not every step ahead of the way, right? We were talking about it yesterday, I think it was. Just get that 30 minutes, realize that, cool, awesome. And I'm gonna do this the next 30 days. I'm gonna do an hour and 10 minutes because I'm gonna be off one day. Sweet. But every day, for an hour. Even like in the next 5 weeks, you're gonna land a deal. All right, I only want to do it Monday through Friday. Okay, cool. Then call for an hour and a half. Call for an hour. Yeah, even an hour and 15 minutes, that'll still get you enough. Again, but that's money making activities. That is actually dialing for that entire time. That is not, oh, I gotta get my list together. That needs done separate of actual dialing. Because you owe it to yourself. That's what it comes down to. What other things are kind of holding you guys back, or what thoughts are coming up as we're talking about this? Because I'm kind of going off on my monologue for a few.
Loco. Come
I don't want to come here.
here. You're on mute.
Oh, I thought I said I was on mute. Okay, yeah. What other thoughts? Is this who's let's come off mute, guys. I want you guys to come off mute for a second. Who's committed to serve your future self? Like I really mean it. Like who's really committed to give the best life for your future self and your family? Yo, I love.
Yo,
Okay,
100% yo.
so what? So I love. Thank you so much, Sandra. What are you gonna do to make sure that what are you gonna? How are you gonna serve your future self today?
Implementing things,
Like what?
it's implementing. Yeah, and stay consistent. And yeah, take things out of my plate. Those things that I can't, somebody else can do it for me,
Yeah.
and delegating. Because that's one of my biggest issues right now, is not having enough. I have too many things in my plate, so I have to start making decisions and delegating or taking this is not working. I am concentrating on this. That's basically my biggest issue right now.
Right.
Mhm.
So what could you do today to make that happen? And so what are you going to sit down and actually look at what you're doing and what you can delegate? And when are you going to do that?
Well, as of right now, I'm starting to doing it.
Okay.
It's a process still, but and like I said, committed to my half an hour, and yeah, getting the list. Like you said, those are not the MMAs, but those are the clients. So I got the clients and the
Just
areas that I want to work on. It's a Walmart, it's a Target, it's an Nordstrom, and just focusing on those areas instead of me going and everybody's areas.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah, making those steps and at the same time, making calls on the NODs that I already have.
Right.
So yeah.
And the thing is, like, I know I'm saying like the MMA, the sacred time is just for MMAs, but in reality, guys, it doesn't take much time to get a list. If this is going to be more challenging if you don't have any funds to kind of put towards the business, right? So if you're having a hard time, but even putting in like the $37 a month with like maybe if you're part one of the 15 people, or like maybe you join another group and it was like 3 people paying $60 a month, or you're doing Renatus iOS for $125 a month, or there's plenty of other programs, or shoot, just get with a title company, have them send NODs to you every single week, and that's your list. So in reality, getting a list, because people's like, oh, well, yeah, but sure, Jared's just saying an hour, 30 minutes a day, but then I got to do all the stuff beforehand and make sure that's right. Yeah, absolutely. But in reality, that should be a 5-minute job once it's all kind of things, once it's set up, once you know where, and there's a learning curve. So maybe it's going to be 15 minutes the first time, and then 10 minutes and 5 minutes, and then 5 minutes forever. So it's not really because of technology, what we have in front of us. I mean, bam, it's there. There's no real excuse in my eyes, and I could be wrong. And I would love to have a conversation. Maybe your situation is a little different. And if you do the exercise like I suggested, is to write out what your whole entire day is. What do you do? What do you spend your time on every single hour? You know, it's you'll be surprised. But do it, even though, because your brain's going to tell you not to do it. It's going to find out that the best salesman. The best salesman in you is going to try to sell you and not doing it. So you got to sell yourself that this is the best thing for you. Cutest little guy ever. Oh my gosh. What other thoughts? And same with what I was talking about with Sandra, like so when are you gonna do it? Like, yeah, okay, cool. So I know I need to go through and delegate. So like what time today are you gonna sit down and I need to these 5 tasks I can delegate. I can delegate to this person, this person, this person. Okay, cool. Just figuring out a plan what you can do makes things a lot easier to take action. Maybe it's sitting down like, okay, where am I gonna get my leads? Okay, what's my resources? This, okay, cool. And maybe it's not calling. I mean, there's if you have, for example, and I'll drop this link. I already did once, but there's a link where if you and I can, if you guys really are interested in this, like just text me and we can have a conversation about it. But there's a company, Rockstar Callers, that and I have a promo code. It kind of gives you a little bit of a discount, but the Rockstar Callers, you can buy leads from them, like 4 cents a lead comes with the phone number. So, you know, $400 gets 10,000 leads. That's kind of where we're at. But also they can hire like a virtual assistant and they can make calls and set appointments for you. And they guarantee you 44 hot leads or active leads. Otherwise, if they don't have those, like, oh yes, I do actually want to talk about selling my house. Cool, awesome. Let's set an appointment with Jared, and they can have a link set up, you know, like a calendar link, so they can see your calendar and they can plug it in, or however you want to do it. It's kind of up to you. But if they don't get those 44 hot leads / appointments, then they keep working until they get it. But it's like I think it's averages like $1,500 a month. So I mean, this is where it's like if I have money to put into it, so maybe after the first deal you close, set aside $5,000, and you can do something like that. $1,500 a month. You get 44 hot leads, and let's say half of those get appointments. That's a deal. That's probably 2 deals, if not 3. You know, we're talking about building the machine. So if you don't have $1,500 a month available right now, okay, cool. Spend a couple months or a month doing the calls yourself, get a deal, and then you can hire that out. So this is not even when you really look at these things. Like if again, I'm assuming phone calls is the method of contact for the sellers. But if making those phone calls, it's really difficult and challenging. But do it for a month, close the deal, pay someone else to do it for you after that. Talk about momentum. Talk about momentum. What other thing? We're about timeout. So what other things? So Sandra's committed to do this. Who else is committed to actually make your sacred time sacred? Who's going to serve the future self? Who's going to treat your future self like someone you actually love, that you actually care about? You generally care about someone. You want them to be successful. You want them to be happy. And Nate was honest, and he said he would have been happier with his future self, or with himself, if he would have done that effort in the past. So if he would have done it, he would have had an extra $15,000 in his back pocket, and he would have more motivated to keep going. So if you're honest, like with Nate, it's like, what do I need to do now? All right. Well, so the past is the past. Don't beat yourself up. It's the past is to help us learn. What can I do right now, my current present state, help my future self? So put in. Let's make some posts. I want to get some interaction with you guys, and put in there and make a post that yes, I'm committed to treat my future self. Just doing the action is, or treat my future self like it's someone I love, or something along those lines. Doesn't exactly, but make some declaration. Maybe not in the socials, but I'm talking about in the school community. Post in there that you are committed to actually treat my future self like I love that person, or that they're worth, future self is worth my time and effort now. I care about my future self's happiness, about my happiness. And when you do make those phone calls, because we all done it, how do you? So Nate, let me jump. When you do make that when you do actually make phone calls, when that's done, how do you feel? Even though you didn't send any appointments, but let's just say you made those calls, you accomplished it.
I mean, I feel a lot better just about myself, and something that I've always said is that it's not as scary as it seems. Once you start talking to people, there are some really, really nice people out there that even if they say no, they're still really nice and have some really good conversations. And so after I get done, I'm like, oh, that wasn't really as scary as it is. But then I hype myself up for next time. I'm like, oh, this is really scary, but it's not really once you actually get on and talk to people. So.
And when we're putting stuff off, like if I'm not treating my sacred time as sacred, I have there's an internal anxiety because I allowed myself to I sold myself on not doing that action, so I'm going to do this other thing over here or whatever that's important right now. There's that anxiety because you should be doing something else. That task is still there, but the anxiety is with you. You're paying a cost whether you do it or not, because you're gonna have that anxiety or pressure to make that call. Because what if someone yells at me with the rejection? That's going to be there. But guess what? You want to do it. You love your future self enough, and you're not doing it. Have we not all felt that anxiety of like you're watching a video or whatever, and you should be doing something else? How does that feel? I hate it. I do it more times than I care to admit. So you're going to have that anxiety and pain no matter what. Just have it somewhere where it's going to make you better, happier, and better. And like Nick says, that anxiety went away, that nervousness, that fear, after you start talking to people. Like, oh, for the most part, people are generally, talk to some annoyed people, sure, but they're relatively polite, understandably. Yeah, cool. Awesome. Once in a blue moon, once a month, you'll get some complete douchebag response to you. That's okay. That's going to happen. They had a bad day. Isn't that a better pain than just sitting when you should be doing something else? So don't sacrifice the best for the good. Spend time with your family is good. Cleaning the house is good. Cleaning your desk is good. What's best for the future self is getting that $15,000 in this month is probably better, because then what stress will that resolve? How would you feel about yourself? What would you be able to do for your family? Like if you're cleaning the house, you're making $15,000 a month, could you pay a couple $100 a month for a maid to come in once a week? Oh, I got to have a clean house. Okay, cool. Just leave it dirty for a month. Make calls, and then your house will be the cleanest it's ever been for the rest of your life. Just bite the bullet for the month. Just do it. I probably should have this conversation like the very beginning, to be honest. So my apologies to each and every single one of you. Because if I would have had this conversation beforehand, but at the same token, it's good to see in context of like, because at the very beginning we're all excited, we're ready to go, but as things move on, then we start selling ourselves and not taking action, and then we roll into this. And so it's good to see in context. Oh yeah, that's right. I did do this. I did that. Oh yeah, I could have had this, as far as being able to change and change behavior. All right. Well, we're at noon. So again, just call to actions. Keep track of what you're doing every hour of the day for one day today, because tomorrow is not going to happen. You're going to tell yourself not to do it tomorrow. Right now, take 5 minutes, write down everything you did for the past, from when you got up till now. and just keep track where you're doing, and then really look at your day and what are you doing. That was the challenge that Richard Stock gave us last night, and I think that's very applicable right here. And then 2, make a post in the school community that you're going to start caring, or that you're I don't even care if it doesn't exactly, but you care enough for your future self to take action now. However you want to phrase it. Like, my future self deserves those deals that are gonna be closed, so I'm doing this action now. And it's just stating that, it's putting it out there. It makes it like it's a mental thing. It's like you're actually declaring that you love your future self, not just a thought, but you're actually putting it out there. So do that. I love you guys. Love yourselves as much as you love everyone else. You love your mom, you love your kids. Aubrey, you would die for that cute little kid, wouldn't you?
Absolutely.
Because you love him. Why don't you love yourself enough to do this something similar? Not to die, but to put the effort. If you knew he would be happier and have a better life just spending 30 minutes a day making phone calls, wouldn't you do that? You deserve it too. Everyone deserves it here. Love yourself. All right, guys. I love you. Stop selling yourself short. Literally. You guys got this.
Thanks, Jared.
Jared.